All right, so now we're going to do the first page of our expansion for review quiz for fun. Some of you guys had a little bit of difficulty at the beginning, so I want you to spend a little bit more time on this stuff. So now let's go and work on this first thing called expanding a binomial, right? So when we expand a binomial, okay, what we're going to do is we're literally taking the information from the front of our first binomial, i.e. the x, and we're going to apply it to everything in the second half. So we're going to get x times x is x squared, plus 4 times x is 4x. Now, the second half of the problem is to go and take the first number, the second number in the first bracket, and multiply it by everything in the second bracket. So you're going to have not 7x, but negative 7 times x, which gives us negative 7x. And then we have negative 7 times positive 4, which gives us, well, negative 28. All right. So when you get your negative 28, the last stage of our calculation is to take the information that's in the middle of our equation and add it together. So we have plus 4 and 7x. So let's just continue. So we got x squared plus 4 and minus 7x gives us negative 3x. And then we have minus 28 as our final answer. And we are done. And you'll notice that I'll always put a box around my final answer for these type of problems because I don't want to be looking around to see where all the rest of your information is. So now let's do the same thing for our second problem. We have 2x plus 9 all squared. Now that squared term on the top means that we just have to basically copy 2x plus 9 and multiply it by 2x plus 9. So now we're literally just going to follow the same pattern that we did before. So now we have 2x times 2x is 4x squared. And now 2x times 9, which gives positive 18, you guessed it, x. And then we're going to take our 9 from the first bracket and multiply it by everything in the second bracket to get this. And now all we have to do, just like before, is make sure that we add the middle term. So now we have the following. And we got x squared plus 36x plus 81. Okay, and now let's move on to our next concept of the day. All right, so now we need to write a simplified expression for the area of this shape. Now, a lot of you guys have issues with this. That's fine. We can work through it. So here's what we're going to do. We have to find the area of this shape. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use color coordination. So I'm going to call this A1, and we're going to go and get all of this area here as what we're looking for, okay? And then this part here, I'm going to call it A2 is going to be in blue. Now, it's very easy for us to calculate the area of A1. A1 is simply length times width, right? The length of A1 is this, just 4x plus 2. And then its width is 2x plus 1. And now we end up just expanding like we did before. Take our 4x, multiply into there, and take our 2 and multiply everything into there. And we get this. 8x squared plus 4x plus 4x plus 2. And now all that's left to do is we just have to take the information in the middle and add it together. So let's do that. And we end up with A1 equaling 8x squared plus 8x plus 2. So now let's go and figure out A1. So for A1, you got to recognize that the entire length from here to here is 4x plus 3, right? But what I'm more interested in is just this yellow part right here, okay? In order to get the yellow, we literally have to find, to get this length here, we're going to have to take 4x plus 3, which is the length of the entire side, right? And we're going to have to subtract it from the length of 2x plus 1. And that gives us, when you simplify and go through all the math, you end up with 2x plus 2 as the length from here all the way to here. And it's just 2x plus 2. So now let's go and calculate the area of the blue. Now, just like before, area was length times width. And then all we did was just multiply the sides. So you'll notice that this side is x, and then this side is 2x plus 2. And now that I have done that, all we have to do is we have to expand our x into the bracket, and we end up with 2x squared, and then x times 2 gives us plus 2x. So that is A2. So now that I have A2 and A1, we need to find the total area. So the total area is given by A1 plus A2. And we end up with something that looks like this. You'll notice that I put brackets around the stuff that we're substituting, right? We do that every time we do a substitution. So now, because we have plus in between the two substitutions, we can just drop the bracket. All right, so now let's collect all of our like terms. So our total area is going to be 8x squared plus 2x squared gives us 10x squared. And now we need to add up all of the x terms. Oh, sorry, I forgot to put my x here. So we have 8x plus 2x gives us 10x, and now we have 2 at the end, plus 2. That's it. So that was our total area. So our total area is given by that. And we're done. All right. For the last two concepts, we have to do changing from vertex to standard form and then finding the y-intercept. That'll be really quick. Let's go. All right. So for this equation, y is equal to this, right? We're going to convert it into standard form. Now, when you hear something is converted into standard form, what we're talking about is expansion. All right, let's work through the math and see how it comes out. Now, remember, this thing here, we call the vertex form, right? And to go to standard form, we have to expand the vertex form. Okay, so let's go and do that right now. So our equation is y is equal to negative 0.5 x minus 10 times x minus 10. And the reason why that is, and the plus 4, and the reason why that is because of this power of 2 here. So now let's expand what's in the bracket, and we end up with this. Y is equal to negative 0.5 x squared minus 10x plus 100. And then plus 4. Now the question is, how did I get that? So I did x times x to get x squared, then x times negative 10 to give us negative 10, then negative 10 in the first bracket times everything in the second bracket. So we got negative 10x, and then negative 10 times negative 10 gives us 100. So now let's simplify the middle. So remember, every time we go and do an expansion, we always have to simplify the middle of our basic expansion. So that middle part is the negative 10 and the negative 10. We have to add those two together to get the following. And now, this is where the hard part is. A lot of you guys tend to forget. So we're going to take the minus 0.5 and we're going to apply it to everything inside our bracket. So we get minus 0.5 x squared Then we have to take minus 0.5 and multiply it by 20. And a minus gives us a positive, but then 0.5 times 20 gives us 10x. And then we do the same again for this time 100. So positive and negative of 100, positive and negative gives us negative, then 0.5 times 100 gives us 50. And because we have used that a value and pushed it into our bracket, the bracket just disappears, and we're left with our plus 4 from before. And now we collect the end terms here. And all we are left with is y is equal to negative 0.5 x squared plus 10x. And then we have minus 50 plus 4 is minus 46. And there is our final answer for the standard form. And we're done. Now, this last problem that we have here, I spent a lot of time on this, and I tried to make it easy for you guys, okay? When we're talking about the y-intercepts of a relation, if I have something in this form here for question number 1, this is called the vertex form, right? So if we have the vertex form, in order to find the y-intercept, we need to let x equal 0. So let's do that. So if we let x equal 0, that means we have y is equal to 3 times 0 plus 2 squared minus 1. That means y is equal to 3 times 2 squared, right? Because 0 plus 2 is 2 and minus 1. So we have y is equal to 3 times 4 minus 1. And we end up with y is equal to 12 minus 1, which means y is equal to 11. And that's it. Our y-intercept is given as y equals 11. Now, that is what happens if we have something in standard form. You have to let your y-intercept equal 0 if it's in vertex form. But when you are in standard form, we still let x equal 0, but here's what happens. Something crazy happens. So let x equal 0. So let's substitute. Y is equal to, well, negative 0.3 times 0 squared, right? Plus 1.5 times 0 minus 8.2. Oh boy, we're done. Let me explain to you why. This goes away and this goes away because 0 squared is 0, and then 0 times negative 0.3 is 0, and then 1.5 times 0 is 0. So basically, you don't have to do the calculation. You just need to recognize that our y-intercept in standard form is always the constant. Okay, so it's always the very last number. So in this case, the y-intercept is this. y equals negative 8.2. And we are done. So what I want you to do is I want you to do the review for fun questions, page 286, number 1 through 7.